Today we're going to be looking at a year in review of the market for 2023. Let's get started.
Hi everyone, we're Jeff and Julie Abel with Signature Home Team in beautiful Estes Park, Colorado and Northern Colorado. Today we're going to be breaking down, just having a conversation about 2023, the good, the bad, the ugly, all that it entailed from the housing market, from a housing market perspective, and just give you some good information.
So 2023 was definitely an interesting year. Looking over the stats, looking at just kind of our experience, there were lots of things that affected the market in 2023, whether that was raised interest rates, increasing inventory, inflation, unemployment, the Fed doing what the Fed does, just lots of factors that came into play in 2023. And part of that was just us coming out of a few crazy years during the COVID period where people could work from anywhere and people wanted to get out of the big cities. And so we saw an influx of buyers reducing inventory from 2020 to 2022. And just some of the after effects of that we'll get into a little bit as we go as well. But definitely an interesting market this past year.
We definitely saw the end of, I can live and work from anywhere. That was kind of what drove that market from 2000 to 2022. 23 was, hey, I'm getting called back up to work, and my boss wants me to come, or call back up from retirement. We saw a lot of moves based on that too.
Yeah. So lots of things going into it. I thought first we'd dive into some stats. We'll look at a couple things. We'll look at Estes Park, and then we'll look at Larimer County as a whole. And we'll also look at single family homes and attached dwellings, our condos and townhomes as well, just to see kind of what was happening in each of those areas.
Okay, Jeff, let's dive into single family homes, because one of the things we saw from a buy side, definitely able to show a lot more property than we had in the past. I joke that it was the meet me at the property at this time. You can see one property. We were past that in 2023.
Definitely. For single family homes in Estes Park specifically, we had a 15% increase in new listings over 2022. So 15% more homes coming on the market than we had the previous year. And there was also a decrease in sales of about 14.5%. So that's 29.5% swing of homes between new listings and fewer sales. We had a whole lot more inventory in 2023 than we had in 2022. And we'll talk a little bit about that pattern in a minute, but July, we had almost 5 months of inventory.
Yeah, we hadn't had 5 months in inventory
in Estes Park. So that's kind of what single family homes were doing. Days on market was up a bit, about 10% for single family homes in Estes Park. And prices kind of remained pretty steady.
Yep.
There was not a significant adjustment. And as we looked at median home price month over month throughout the year, we could see it kind of jumping around, but that was because there were so few home sales happening that, one really high-end home or one more affordable home really threw off those numbers just because there were so few homes on the market and being sold at the time. So that's...
And then like fourth quarter, we saw with the interest rate being where they were, things just kind of abruptly came to kind of a slowdown because of the inventory, because...
And because of the holidays.
Yeah,
a lot too. So December is always an interesting month. And this year we didn't see as much
end of
year movement as we sometimes do for tax purposes and things like that.
But more normalizing, wouldn't you say? Like it just getting back to normal.
Coming back to a normal market. For attached dwellings in Estes Park, this was interesting. New listings were actually up 40%. So where new listings were up 15% for single family homes, 40% for condos.
And our team certainly saw that.
Yeah.
Like that was a big shift in our team last year.
And so 40% for that, 9% fewer closed units. Almost 10% fewer closed limit units. So that put us at about a 50% swing though of inventory. So again, lots of new listings coming on the market, a decrease in closed units, and again, that's why we saw increased inventory in the condo. And despite that, days on market was up, but prices on condos seem to increase more in 2023 year over year than single family homes did this past year, which is an interesting trend that's not something we normally see.
One of the interesting things I noticed about the attached dwelling market in Estes was, for the first time, buyers had multiple choices for vacation rentals.
Yeah.
Because of that interest rate where it was at, we saw some vacation rentals sit on the market for a while because of that.
So again, lots of things played into both of these, the single family home and the attached dwellings in Estes Park this past year. The short-term rental thing is a huge thing.
Yeah, talk a little bit about
what
that.
the town is doing to kind of try to reduce those over the last several years, the county, but with some legislation at the state level that's looking at taxing or short-term rentals as commercial properties rather than residential. I think that's had a huge factor in some people maybe deciding to get out of the short-term rental market here in Estes Park.
Or being more cautious about moving to get in. And so time will tell on that. That'll be interesting to watch, and our team will definitely be keeping a finger on the pulse of that.
I think another thing we saw was up here, a lot of people were listing their second homes. Maybe, whether it was economic factors, whether it was just timing, whatever it was, if they needed the cash out for something else. I think we saw a lot of second homes come on the market, which again kind of are some of our more pricier homes. So they help maintain that median home price, but they weren't super motivated to sell them. They weren't having to move for a job, so they weren't as willing to be flexible on price maybe.
So the days on market reflected
days on market increased because of some of those secondary home sales as well. So those are a couple things that factored into this. One of the other things we really saw was 2023, especially kind of July on, and maybe even June and May, really kind of fell into a pattern that we would see in 2017, 2018.
Yes.
So we would see, inventory build up, which we haven't seen an inventory build up again since pre-COVID, but that inventory build up into July, and then kind of a drop off August and September, a little bump in October, and then a continual drop of inventory through November, December, and we'll see it. I'm assuming it will continue, that we'll have inventory drop January, February, March, probably hit our low point of inventory in March, around a month, maybe a little bit less of inventory probably. And then as the spring hits, we'll start to see kind of that natural pattern of inventory increasing, new homes coming on the market. So I think we're going to see some patterns that were kind of more traditional pre-COVID patterns moving forward. Obviously, there are a lot of factors that play there as well.
How does that look and compare to the Front Range too? So Northern Colorado and Larimer County.
So Northern Colorado Larimer County specifically is what we're going to look at. Again, not quite the same pattern we had up here because it's not a secondary home market.
Right.
It's a lot of primary homes, first-time home buyers, that sort of thing. So the effects were different there than
different economics.
Different economics at play as well. Larimer County as a whole saw, instead of an increase in new listings like we saw up here, they saw a decrease of almost 10% of new listings.
And my clients moving down the mountain, that definitely was.
So fewer new listings, but also fewer closed sales. So about 16% fewer closed sales. So that's only a 6% difference between, new listings and closed sales, where we were looking at a 50% difference up here on especially attached dwellings. So a more stable market there. Inventory never got high like it did up here. Again, days on market was up a bit, but prices across Larimer County, again, remained fairly stable. We didn't see the crazy 20% growth, 15% growth that we've seen over the last few years. We just saw a normal kind of steady market as people were kind of trying to figure out what was going on with the economy, with interest rates, that sort of thing. For attached dwellings in Larimer County, there was an increase, 10% new listings.
Yes.
And a 12% decrease in closed sales. So again, more new listings, fewer closed sales, but again, not as dramatic as up here. Days on market on attached dwellings actually went down.
Oh, wow.
So I think with the interest rates and a lot of first-time home buyers, what we saw was maybe they couldn't afford a home.
So they went to
a condo or a townhome as that first home purchase. The factor is obviously interest rates again, affordability of that for that first-time home buyer, and we just don't have as many first-time home buyers here in Estes Park. Obviously, challenges for buyers. We're still trying to find the home, even though there were a few more available. There was still competition for those, and for sellers, the biggest challenge has been trying to determine whether they can sell their house that they're already in to move to a different house, either a bigger house or a smaller house, but then taking on a higher interest rate. So if they're locked in at 2 and 3% on their existing mortgage, to this year decide, hey, we've got to sell it and move up in home, not only do you have the increase in the price of moving up, but then you've also got that 7%, 6% interest rate, which just made a lot of people not able to afford the homes that they would have normally bought if they were still in that 3 and 4%.
Yep, that makes sense. So one of the things we're seeing is people saying, you know, definitely with interest rates going down incrementally, buyers, sellers need to get back into the market because it could create another inventory situation. Talk to me about what that looks like for 2024. How much of that's hype and how much of that is actually going to be a reality?
I think 2024 is going to be obviously another interesting year as we kind of come out of this, hopefully. Although different indicators are kind of pointing different directions at this point. We're in early mid-January. The Fed is meeting in January 30, 31st this year. It sounds like from what people are saying and what the pundits are saying is there's not going to be a drop in the Fed rate. They're going to keep it steady, but they are anticipating probably 3 drops this year. So 3 quarter-point drops, so almost a whole point over the course of the year. How that will affect mortgage rates to be determined, but I think it will have a positive effect. It may not have it as early as we would like, but I think by the end of the year, we could see interest rates in the 5s again.
So what does that look like for our clients? People moving to Estes, people wanting to sell, people wanting to move down the mountain, move up in property?
I mean, it's an unknown, right? There's the possibility that things could get significantly better with lower interest rates, but lower interest rates are going to present some significant challenges again as well. If we do see interest rates get into the 5s, there are a lot of people who have been waiting to buy.
Yes.
That buyer demand hasn't gone away. So there's a lot of people waiting to buy. And so as interest rates drop, especially if we can get into the 5s, I think we're going to see a lot of people make the decision to move forward at that point, which is going to then, again, in Estes, will eat up some of our inventory that we have on the Front Range.
We're already seeing that now.
On the Front Range, there's no inventory.
Right.
We're still at super low inventory, so we're going to see demand. I think what we'll see is as that demand builds, prices start going up. Sellers are going to be like, oh, well, if I can sell for this point much, I can then afford a 5% rate versus my 3% rate. And so I think what we'll see is potentially a snowball effect where interest rates drop, buyers start buying, sellers go, oh, there's demand now and I can sell for more. And, we could move back into a COVID type situation with the housing market just because there is so much demand out there still.
But bottom line, I mean, people are always going to have to sell and buy. Work, life demands are always going to demand that. And what I love is, with our team and the services that we have to offer, we're ready and available to give clients really good information so they can make a really informed decision.
I think the biggest thing in 2024 over the past few years is going to be really having somebody on your side who understands the market.
Yes.
And understands what's going on in the different sectors, whether it's Larimer County, whether it's Loveland, Fort Collins, whether it's Estes Park, Glen Haven,
Boulder, Weld County.
Wherever you are, understanding what's going on in each, whether it's single family homes or townhomes and condos, and whether it's different price points, because we didn't really dive into this, but each price point kind of has its own market.
Real unique
as
market.
well. So there are certain price points where things go really quickly, certain price points where things take a little bit longer, and I think we're going to have more and more of that nuance playing out in 2024 as we look at what the Fed's doing, what's happening nationally in real estate, and then also what's happening locally with regulations and in taxes and all of those things that are at play.
So from a seller side, experience really matters. How you go about marketing a property in this environment is really going to make a difference. What services agents and teams provide, and buyer knowledge, like what that looks like, and a proven track record.
So I think we're going to continue to see some options. Those may decrease as we move through the year. Yep. And so having the ability to move quickly, make a decision, and then really kind of be comfortable with where the market is, and having those conversations with your agent are going to be super important.
So there you have it. There's the 2023 kind of recap for Estes Park, Northern Colorado.
There's a snapshot of kind of where we are, how we got here, and where we might be headed.
Excited for 2024.
Yeah, I think really 2024 is going to be a good year for our clients, whether they're looking to buy or sell, just because of the economic factors playing out. And obviously, if things go the other direction, we're going to stay on top of that, and we'll have answers for you as well. If we end up heading towards a recession, which, some indicators are still pointing that direction as well. So anyway, here's to a great 2023 and a better 2024. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.